Hey, well, it's 10 a.m. Let's get started here on time. Respect everyone's hour. And welcome. My name is Josh Christian. I'm the CEO of the Home Technology Association, and also from HTA is Jeff Bassetti. There, he's got his camera on. One of the team here. And also we have Josh Carlson. We're chatting back and forth of D-Tools. And D-Tools, I want to thank D-Tools and Josh and Tim Biganess there that are great team members with the HTA. They're one of our supporting brands. And before I kind of kick off, I wanted to introduce Josh to you, and he could say a few words as well. So Josh, take the mic.
Awesome. Thanks, fellow Josh. I appreciate it. Hey, everyone. I know we do have some of our D-Tools customers here today, but for those of you who are not familiar with D-Tools, really, I'll just provide a very brief overview of the company. So we do provide unique end-to-end business software solutions designed to help dealers and integrators standardize business processes in a way that's really most profitable. And this is done by streamlining their entire project workflows, from sales and proposal management through system design and documentation, on through installation and ongoing servicing. And I know we have a number of HTA members that are customers as well. And ultimately, the goal of D-Tools always has and continues to be, as a company, to provide the industry with the tools and resources and even education that helps businesses grow. Again, as I mentioned, improve profitability and increase efficiency company-wide. And as Josh mentioned, that's really the reason we've been a gold sponsor and partner for HTA for years now. We have that shared mission to help companies such as yours improve and grow your business and really help provide the recipes for continued success. And we look forward to collectively, again, with HTA, continue to support those efforts and really help raise the bar for our industry. So again, big thanks to Jeff and Josh and everyone here today. And thank you guys for having us.
Yes, well, thank you. And all are invited to turn their cameras on. I want to make this, kind of loose and conversational, not super formal and stiff. I wanted to share what HTA is, how, what's in it for you, how you're going to profit from this. Why does it exist in the first place? So please turn your cameras on if you will. And if you have questions throughout, you can raise your little virtual hand. It's in your toolbar. Hey, Chris. Hey, Sean. Seen some Danny. Nice to see some faces here. You can turn on, raise your virtual hand or throw something in the Q&A, and we'll be happy to answer questions. Again, I want this to be conversational, not stiff and such. We're all friends here, right? We're all in the same industry, striving for excellence. So what I'll do is I will share this in, I'll share a PowerPoint, but I could interrupt it, and then we'll do a little walkthrough of the website as well, the HTA website. So I'll be flipping back and forth between showing a couple different things throughout. So that'll at least help me keep me on point a little bit too. So let's see, anything I wanted to bring out here. Okay, so I'll click on to the screen share thing now. All right, and you'll see all the PowerPoint. Okay. All right, should all be seeing that now. Okay, so welcome everybody. All right, so first of all, why? Who's HTA and why does HTA exist? So I think you're going to resonate with what we're about to go through here. So a couple things on the screen here that you probably live with every day. Some issues that good companies losing projects to crummy companies, takeovers, right? How many of you are dealing with takeover projects from lesser integrators? It's a big deal. And a very low barrier to entry in this industry. Very low barrier. As you probably see, some of the air quote competition that you have to compete with sometimes, like, how are these people even allowed to even buy product? They're just not professional. In this picture here, the screenshot, it's humorous, but it's true. This is a shot taken around LA off the 405 freeway of Mike around the house services here, audio video installation, handyman and window washing and more. I mean, really? That's real. That's not photoshopped. this is the kind of stuff out there that clients are hiring these kind of folks. And you know what the quality of workmanship is when companies hire firms like that or mics like that. So what we believe beyond that is that the folks that should be sending you their projects, architects, builders, and designers, are largely unhappy with their industry. You might already get that. If you ever get the feeling when you meet a new one that you're guilty until proven innocent?
Yep.
Why is that, right? It's because someone screwed up before you and they've had such a bad experience with their industry that they kind of think you're the same. That's terrible. And because our industry up until now has not had a standard of quality, they don't know how to pick a good company. I mean, the guy seems nice. They have a nice website. Let's just get the cheapest bid. And that's terrible, right? Because when a client is hiring on the cheapest bid, they get what they pay for, and they'll come back to you often later on and ask you to fix it. And another thing too that you probably deal with is that you inherit a new client. Maybe they just moved to your area and you meet them for the first time and they had such a bad technology experience on their past project that they want less technology in their new larger home, right? I've been an integrator for 16 years. That's happened quite a bit. You know, I had that lighting system, give me light switches. Oh, on a 10,000 square foot house, light switches, huh? I mean, it's just terrible when that happens. So these are the things that have been existing in our industry a long time, and kind of prove it's happening with a lot of you that have registered today. As you recall, when you registered for this webinar, you had a choice of a few questions. And the question is, what things are preventing you from closing more sales? And your answers were unqualified competition, lowball bidders, client looking for lower pricing. So 3 things, all of the above or none of the above. Well, the number one answer was all of the above. So it's something that kind of expect that you're dealing with. And this is what we're fixing here. So how are we going to fix that? Let's jump out of our industry for a while and look at other things that you and I deal with in our lives, like eating, buying cars. If you're married or got a girlfriend, you probably bought a diamond at some point. And if you've done any of these things, then you know that there are standards of quality in these other industries. Michelin stars, GIA ratings for diamonds, HTA certified mechanics, 5-star safety ratings on a car. If you see those things, you know as a consumer, like, oh, I feel safe here. I'm going to get a good experience. This is not some rinky-dink cafe. This is a great restaurant, or I'm buying a legit diamond that has been rated by some pros. Gives you comfort level, right? Well, this industry hasn't had that. And that's what we saw, that vacuum in the industry, that there's no standard. Anybody could say they're a great integrator because no one's defined what it is. So let's build it. Let's make a consumer-facing standard that, just like those other industries, represents quality. And we'll define what that means. So we'll show that on the website, how we've done that. But that's what that Home Technology Association is, why it was created, because we want to steer the business away from those companies that are screwing up the industry, giving all of us a black eye. Give it to those qualified integrators that give clients great technology experiences. So, what are we? As I mentioned, we're a reference standard for companies, and we'll show the website and explain what that is. The 3 overall pillars of what HTA is, we're looking for integrators that basically meet 3 criteria. It's a little more granular than that, but the overall top 3 things are, is the company technically competent with the products they sell? Do they have good customer service and aftercare? Do they have a demonstrated history of that? Do they have a good reputation in the marketplace? So that's the main pillars of it. And what we do for those dealers that go through the process and get certified, it's not some magical bullet that all of a sudden you're going to close more sales and everything's rainbows and unicorns instantly, but we give you tools to allow you to close more sales faster and overall higher ticket price. We'll get into that. So, but that's what it's a set of tools. So once you use those tools, your revenue is going to go up. We want to be the highest ROI investment that you make in your business. And as we'll see later on, our certification dues are very inexpensive, especially in light of the reward you can get from it. So we'll show the FAQ a little later and go over some of those, how we're backing all this up. Something that's very important as well is something that we didn't start doing when we launched back in 2017, but we've really started amping this up since 2020, is standing in as the representative of integrators to the build and design trades. Because largely speaking, architects, designers, and builders don't know the breadth of what you do. They don't know when or even why that they should bring you into their project early. And because of it, a lot of, you're brought into the projects often too late. And it's a fire drill at the last minute to wire these homes up. And if you were brought in earlier, you could have done more and integrated the technology even better. And, I lived it again. I've been an integrator for many years myself, so I'm sure you've dealt with this as well. So we are acting as a spokesperson for the trade. I've been, on behalf of HTA, I've been teaching architects, designers, and builders for the last couple of years at some of the trade shows, and we'll get into that a little bit more too. Build some tools for them that are a big hit. So does it matter? And the answer is yes. We did 2 different surveys of, this is NARI, the group NARI, National Association of Remodeling Industry, and IDS, Interior Design Society. At some of the classes that we gave, we did some surveys. And after they heard what HTA is, we got to do some national webinars with these folks and even a national class for NARI, and asked them, now that you know what an HTA certified integrator is, would you prefer to have an HTA certified integrator over one that isn't? And 9 out of 10 said yes. The 1 out of 10 that didn't say yes, didn't say no, they took the third choice, like, I need to learn more. So there you go. They just need a little bit more convincing than what could give them in that formalized class. But this works. They want to see a badge of quality. We offer it. So another, benefit we do besides giving, this is really part of the tools that we give you, besides tools like the budget calculator, and we also do webinars that we have. We're doing another webinar tomorrow to our dealers to help them become more profitable and looking into, to tighten up their business and to basically learn from some of the top industry pros how to make their business even better. So we're invested in our dealer success. And a way to look at it in a sense is, many of you might be part of a buying group. We're not a buying group at all. We got members of all the buying groups that are part of HTA, but the similarity is that there's kind of a bit of a club, I guess you could say. There's 229 certified integrators right now through the country, but they all the ideas that respect each other. They learn from each other. Sometimes they even refer business back and forth and other states, that it becomes like a trusted group of integrators that you could build from and reach out to if you have any questions or advice about something in your company. We also write blogs, things you'll see on our websites that we encourage our dealers to repurpose. So one thing that I think you'll like all to hear is, you obviously don't want to win a project because you're the cheapest guy, right? You want to be a profitable company. This allows the conversation to be flipped from price, who's the cheapest, to who's the most competent. And that's where a good integrator can win, is based on competence. And just like your luxury clients will pay more for a better quality car, or a better quality home, or better finishes in their home, if you could demonstrate that you're a better firm than this untrusted company that's not certified, who, you in your back of your mind know they're a terrible company, then you don't have to compete on price. They will pay the price to hire a professional if they could understand that and define that value. We're helping you with that. And so we'll go into some testimonials here in a second, but first of all, like this is not theory. We're almost 5 years old. Next month will mark our 5-year anniversary. Does this work, or is this just a bunch of like great ideas that maybe work or maybe don't work? Well, fortunately, it works. I mean, maybe this is the benefit for you by coming to this party now, is that there are a lot of dealers that could back up that all these tools that we kind of built back in 2017 are actually working. And why do they work? And this is something you have to really sit and meditate on for a minute. And this is something I didn't understand when I was an integrator myself. Is I was very proud of the company I worked at. I used to work at a company called DSI Entertainment Systems in Los Angeles. If anybody have heard of it, it was won tons of CD awards, got to be a really big company, sold all the control brands. We had 4 programmers, big company. And I thought, well, of course they know we're the best choice. We have this huge staff. We won all these awards. We're in magazines all the time. They don't, because they kind of assume the other dealers are that way too. They wrongfully assume that all integrators are roughly sell the same product and are roughly the same qualification. It's almost like they're trying to hire a plumber. They all kind of, oh yeah, you know how to do plumbing, that just give me the best deal. But no, it's a lot more sophisticated, of course, what you do. So this is helping educate consumers that this is a big choice they're making, the choice of hiring an integrator. We educate them on our site how to do that. And the close ratio of those dealers are way higher than they were before. So let's share a website here with some quotes, because enough of me talking about it. And I'll share some URLs here you can screen grab in a minute. With this page here, and I'll put it in the chat right now so you have this yourself. This URL is a growing list of, okay, so you should have it in the chat, a growing list of companies that are sharing some wins. We got to update this because we got a really great one to share, and I'll just verbally tell you in a minute. But these are integrators that throughout the country, naming names, that are winning projects, seeing the overall ticket price go up, changing the conversation from price to competence. And this one here, Murray Kunis, he's a local guy. Some of you might know him, but he was even successful at getting architects and builders to put must be HTA certified on the plan set. The architects and builders out here are starting to do that. So you can't even bid some of the big projects out here unless you're HTA certified. Awesome. He did that on his own. So these things work. And Chris Koziarski, this one's not that long ago, he even got a project from an interior designer that the client bought a second home in his market, and the interior designer says, yeah, I must hire an HTA certified firm. That's what they told me. I found you online. And the interior designer said, I must hire an HTA certified firm. So the word's getting out to these trades, and they respect it. Some really good ones here. So read some of these quotes. This one here is one of my favorites, where a client didn't want to spend more than $20,000 for a dedicated home theater space, which you should all laugh, right? Because you can't even buy a projector for 20 grand in a high-end theater. And after talking blue, to the client, so he's blue in the face that he can't, that's the unrealistic budget, a link to sending them to our budget calculator, bump the budget to 150 grand. Just leave it to the budget calculator, dude. It's going to make your job easier. So lots of different quotes from some pretty big people in the industry of how this has been benefiting them. So I won't go into full details and read them, but just the point of that is that this is, it's working. I want to spend a couple moments talking about the budget calculator here. This is a big deal, and a bigger deal than we thought. What we created this for is to make your job easier, because you all sticker shock clients, right? They have no idea what reality is unless this is the second or third home that you've done for them. When you give them a proposal for all the things they want, and it's that, oh my God, it's usually 3 or 4 times more money, your proposal, than they're expecting. So they sticker shock. What happens? A few things happen. They might ghost you. They disappear. They start shopping around, and all of a sudden now they got these proposals that you're defending your legit bid against some lowballer bid because it's some trunk slammer selling crummy stuff. against your higher end product, there's a myriad of problems that go on. Or they may just start trying to negotiate down, just because they think the price is too high and they want to start value engineering anything right away. The budget calculator is magical in this because it's only 17 questions, high level. It's not a proposal builder. It just gives a rough budget range from very good to great. It's not accurate for DIY stuff, but that's not what you put in, right? You're not putting Ring doorbells and Sonos and calling it a day. This is professionally installed real equipment. So this will take a client less than 5 minutes to do. And smart integrators are leveraging this calculator ahead. I'm just going to rip through it real quick. I'm just going to put in a 7,000 square foot home. Let's say, not 70,000, 7,000 foot home, building a new house. I'm just going to rip through it real quick because of time. You could read the small print later, but it's super easy. I answer, some questions. This is about TVs, background audio. I will centralize my video. I want an enhanced home theater. I don't need a media room in this house. Alarm system, 7 cameras. Not many people are putting in intercom these days. I want lighting for the main house and exterior only. I want 6 motorized shades. Here's how we explain home control, single app or multi-app. We're making this simple. If you spend the 5 minutes and read this on your own, which I highly recommend all you do this after our webinar. I'm just going to click, I want single app, but I want everything. Control, pool, spa, locks, gates, garage doors, blah, blah, blah. And I have some high-end architectural finishes. My budget's $237,000 to $582,000. Like, boom, right? We just built this budget. And let this give the sticker shock to your client, not you. So you tell them, you got a lead today. Here we are Tuesday. Great, I'm glad your builder or your neighbor or whatever, your friend referred you to us. And you do your little HTA pitch somewhere in your conversation with them, after telling them all about your company. You make your appointment, let's say tomorrow at 4 o'clock to visit them. You say, I got this homework assignment for you. Take you less than 5 minutes. It gives you an idea of what we do over here at ABC Integration. And it's going to make our meeting tomorrow at 4 o'clock very efficient for your use of time. It gives you an idea of some of the services we offer. And it'll also give you a rough idea what budget ranges are. So at 4 o'clock, when we meet tomorrow, I'll expect you'll have done this process. They could email the budget to themselves. They can email it to you because this could be embedded in your website, by the way. Obviously, I'm on my website, but this could be in your own website. It's going to sticker shock them. Sticker shock is unavoidable, but now you're not the bad guy. You can blame it on this. This is a brand agnostic, neutral tool. It's the reference out there. We're kind of like Consumer Reports in that regard. If you go to Consumer Reports and you look at what high-end ranges or what cars or what chainsaws cost, you got an education of what you could expect to pay for those different products. That's what this is. So clients aren't going to like the numbers, but they're going to respect them. And if they're a DIY client that can't afford your services, well, why don't you know going in? Instead of spending a ton of time of your time, which you don't have much of these days, you're busy, to educate them on what reality costs, and then maybe scare them by putting a proposal together and you just lost, what's the opportunity cost of that, right? You're already busy. So this tool is massively powerful, and it tends to bring budgets up because if you're talking with a luxury type client, they are not wanting to stay at the entry level of things. Look at the cars they drive. Look at the finishes in their home. Is it the cheapest? No. It's usually a little better, right? So typically budgets go up. So yeah, again, this could even be embedded in your own site. We give dealers a coded version of it. So the difference would be when you get down to the bottom of the calculator, the text down here is a little different but it'll have a little checkbox, send budget to ABC Integration. If it does, it sends it to you with their name and email. If they don't, but here's the important thing. if they don't check that box off, they just fill it out and then they email it to themselves, we'll still email it to you, but it's anonymized. But you'll still get that data. You'll know how they answered the questions. And if you told a client to go to your site, and you know their house is roughly 5,000 square feet, and all of a sudden you see a 5,000 square foot budget built on your calculator, you pretty much know it was them and know what they've been seeing in the budget ranges they've been seeing. So this is one of the favorite tools that we've built, and this is embedded on crestronhome.com. CE Pro magazines embedded it, Residential Systems magazines embedded it, Connected Design magazines embedded it. Some rep firms throughout the country embedding it too, because it's, again, this neutral tool. So a very powerful thing to share. I'm going to go back to, maybe I'll stop here. I've been talking a lot. Show of hands here, or does anybody have any questions? I don't see any Q&A. I don't believe there's any Q&A. Or anybody want to raise their hand if they have any questions at this point? Okay, Sean, you can unmute yourself. There you go.
Absolutely. Do y'all plan on expanding categories into the other low voltage markets that are out there, other than when you do it, you have like lighting control, but as you know, light fixtures and lighting itself has expanded greatly into it. Is there any plans to expand your calculator?
Yes, there are. We've done little tweaks here and there to it in time. So 2 categories that are going to come on, I don't know exactly when, but lighting fixtures sooner than the next one. But lighting fixtures, I've already actually have a couple people that are helping with giving some calculated ranges. If you have some ideas on the math on that, shoot me an email. My email will come up later on. Also, energy management is going to be another category that's going to come in. I know that's a little bit premature for our industry, but you got Savant Power, you got Rosewater Energy, Sonnen, those kind of solutions kind of creeping into our industry. That will be another future one that's going to come out too. So good question. Thank you. Anybody else have anything at this point? All right, I'll move on.
Philip's got a question about labor calculations.
Oh, Philip, shoot. Oh,
How is the labor calculated on the budget calculator is the specific question.
It's really broad. I'd have to go back and look at the original spreadsheets. I don't have the numbers memorized on there, but everything is inclusive of labor on these. This is not just a product. So this is considered an installed cost, including engineering and design fees costs. It just doesn't have tax in there. And because not all markets are the same, right? We got expensive markets and you've got less expensive markets. There's a multiplier up here that like pretty much the second question he answers, besides your square footage, your home. Do I live in an inexpensive part of the country, about average, or an expensive part? And if I go back down, the budget range ticked up and ticked down. So it kind of puts an overall modifier to the budget range to kind of count for anywhere in the country. So to get into specifics, I'd have to get back into the spreadsheet on there, but just let us know that it's inclusive on there, and it does, and it's loose, right? You can see, look at the range here. It's this now is 253,000 to 622,000. So it right, 95% of integrators think this thing's spot on. Maybe in extreme cases, at the very extreme high end or the very extreme low end, it might be not perfect, but it works most of the time. And by the way, I think this is a not a problem, but a feature of the calculator, why the range is so big. Some dealers like, I wish the range was tighter. Well, you know, use this calculator anyways to get the conversation started. And then you might even have your own, a lot of dealers have their own calculators they've already had, like they have spreadsheets, which is a much tighter range. But use this as the icebreaker. Use this to let them know what reality is. And then once they have that reality conversation with you, if this helps you, then it will, then you can go into your calculator, then bring the range down. To share, our last dealer webinar we had was only a couple weeks ago. And there's a dealer named Maxicon. They're out of Miami, Florida. This is a great story with this calculator, by the way. So they've been a dealer at the time of our webinar. They only were a dealer 2 months. Matter of fact, I'm going to bring up their website on the other screen. And he was talking to Jeff about what a huge fan he is of the calculator, and they kind of put it all over their website. So in our webinar on July 20th, no, June 27th, they had closed somewhere between 1.2 and 1.3 million dollars with the budget calculator. 2 months.
Yeah, Andre was saying that he's got 100% acceptance rate of the budget range, that all of his clients who looked at it picked a number in the range, which again kicked off the conversation of what's your budget. And they're not looking or feeling foolish because they think they're shopping with Best Buy, Amazon, and Costco, putting a budget together in their head that's maybe 50,000 and it's really like 200,000.
Yeah, so it's pretty darn powerful. I'll show you their website in a little bit. So yeah, it works really well. And now back to looks like a jump to screen here. 1 second. Yeah, okay. So going back to just HTA again, you might wonder, all right, so who helped create the standard? Who's this Josh guy? He's nobody. Yeah, I'm not. I'm a nobody. This is the folks here on our board, and you probably know who these people are, at least some of them. JC Murphy is no longer on our board. He's in a different position at Savant, not so much dealing with the integrator channel as specifically anymore. Some of you might remember Bryce Judd from Control 4. He's no longer with Control 4, but Bryce was pretty well known there, and he was one of the executives of Control 4 that helped create the standard. So, and Tom Doherty and Gretchen were newer additions, so they weren't there from the get-go. But the point is, these are recognizable names, smart people in the industry. It took us many months to come up with that standard of what does good look like. Let's build the standard around what good looks like. And by the way, what percentage did this board assume is good? Like what's the percentage of the dealers out there that they consider the best? It's sad. It's 10%. That's what they assume. 10% of the industry is really doing an amazing job. The other 90% mediocre or worse. That's pretty sad. I don't know if there's any other industries that have such a bad or a low professionalism rate, but shows us why we need this. To me, it's impressive. Maybe it struck you when you saw the brands. And remember, there was Control 4 on the board before. You've got 4 companies, ultra competitive, that sue each other, getting behind and sitting at the same table to build the standard. What does that tell you? You know, it's like they saw the need for something like this to be created. So switching gears to marketing a little bit, we help you with marketing. Sometimes it's by us doing things at a high level, association, but we'll get in the trenches and help you too. So in other words, there's architects, designers, and builders you have relationships with, hopefully in your market. This is an optional thing, but we'll reach out to them on your behalf. We'll do a little bragging for you, let them know that you're certified and why they should care and why they should limit proposals to only HTA certified firms. We'll do that for you. It's optional. I'll reach out. I have quite a following on LinkedIn. I'll reach out on your behalf to architects, designers, and builders that you're not connected with, but you're kind of going for in your community. I'll reach out. And if they connect with me, I'll do a little soft lob and let them know that you're a certified firm. I've been doing that. That's just started. Something we started doing recently. So we are, like I mentioned, as the last couple of years, really acting as a spokesperson for what integrators do. And as such, here's the alphabet soup of the associations that we are members of right now. There's 6 of them. And I teach at their shows. I do webinars for them. We write articles for them. There's a lot of work to do. We're doing what we can at the association level, but you're the boots on the ground. You can piggyback on top of the exposure and help spread the news there, as well. Because once a homeowner or a professional knows that there's a standard out there and you could define it and show it to them, the chance of them wanting that standard is really, really high. We're doing that as much as we can here. Savant and Control 4 will even call out HTA certification on your dealer profile. You can see here's a screenshot of Savant. Crestron's not there yet. They hope to. Talk to Michael Short, if any of you know him in their marketing department. It's on the roadmap. I just don't know when it's going to be there. And how does this process work? There is an online application, and I will put this link in the chat. But how it works, it's an online application where you fill it out. It asks, a bunch of details about your company, your service policies. So 6 people at least that could serve as a reference to you. And we do our background check. It takes a while, about 2 to 9 weeks on average. And then, assuming you're certified, that, as you can see, it's not that expensive. It's $150 a month, or you get 2 months free if you pay annually. You could, easily, depending on the size of your company, make a few $100,000, if not a couple $1 million more a year, just by leveraging these tools. We don't leave this to chance either. So if you go through this process and you get certified, there is an onboarding process, an onboarding call, where we walk you through each of the tools. It's like paint by these numbers. This is proven to work. Here's how you embed the calculator. Here's a little code you could do. If you don't want to do it yourself, we could even help you with some resources that could help you tweak your website to put the HTA logo and calculator and things like that on there. And I will put these links in the chat bar here. I'll put the rebate. I'll just show you how to apply because it's so easy. I want to go back to the website. Lose my mouse. There we go. And there's some rebates too. Some of the big brands out there have some rebates out there that you could use to offset HTA costs. So that just went in there. And another thing too, that a question comes up once in a while is like, okay, well, if I'm certified, am I always certified? No, you have to. There is a code of conduct, and we have to keep the level of this certification high. We can't have crummy dealers let in. So if a dealer that is certified today starts screwing up jobs really bad, like whatever, the owner of the company becomes a drug addict and everybody leaves the company and the company's terrible, companies can be decertified. So it's all about keeping this list clean. It's a lot of the work that we do here to do that. So I wanted to visit the FAQ because I didn't go over everything, but not that we're going to go through all the FAQ, everything, but I wanted to share with you the where you could go to learn more information. Let's go back. I'll go back to MaxCons in a minute. So if I go up to the FAQ here, integration firms, this FAQ page, these are all expandable. How does HTA certification benefit my business? We went over most, but not all here. Why should my company be certified? There's a big one. Does the HTA need to be a household name for the certification at value? Absolutely not. You could read the logic why. And here's another one we hear now. I'm so busy turning away clients. How is the certification going to benefit me? Well, work more efficiently. You're going to have clients that are going to negotiate, and they're price shopping you. Sometimes there are hard-fought battles to close these jobs. Lead with the calculator. The ones that understand what reality costs and are willing to spend a premium for a premium company, take those on. The ones that are a little more difficult, send them packing to somebody else. So work more efficiently and take on the profitable clients. We're not a listing group. You've never heard me talk about getting leads. Can you get leads through the HTA website? Absolutely. Have dealers gotten leads? Yes, but that's not why you want to become an HTA certified dealer. Why you do is to close the business that comes your way. And right now you're probably having a lot of business come your way. We help bring that close ratio dramatically up. We have some recorded webinars on our private channel that even train you this from other great integrators, where we've had webinars where how they're doing this, so you could come back and learn from that in our content library. And we're not a competitor to CEDIA. We're a different type of trade association than CEDIA. So it's not like us or them, it's us and them. If you're a big CEDIA fan and you're a CEDIA member, great. We don't overlap with them. So we get into that, how we're different than CEDIA. So what are the certification requirements? Here they are. This is, to me, probably, this is one of my favorite pages of the site, is the definition of what this is. Like, why is a client going to care? Why is an architect, designer, or builder going to care? Well, here's why. So put yourself in a client's shoes and read this page and say, okay, no, I don't care about this. Of course they're going to care about this. This is what the standard means. It's a defined standard. And if you look at it, it's all common sense standards. And if you have these and you're certified, then you're just making it that much easier for a client to say yes and dealing with a true professional. They've been checked just like a GIA rated diamond or an ASC certified mechanic, all those other type of things. And especially if you are in the high end of the market, we have these, once a company is certified, we put them into 3 different strata, you could say: foundation, luxury, or estate. They're all HTA certified firms, but by putting that extra badge on is a determination of the types of projects that you specialize in. So we're even telling a client that not all HTA certified firms are the same. Some might deal with basic, smaller, simpler projects with short timelines. Or it might be at the other end of the extreme. You're working on these insanely huge mansions that take many, many years to build, have a big architect design build meetings every week, and you're part of those meetings. Well, that's a different type of integrator. So that's why we have these. So this is all, again, designed by integrators, because we know the challenges that you face out there in the real world. I want to share with you some of the resources that we're doing with the architects, designers, and builders. And some of these things are really cool to share. NKBA, National Kitchen and Bath Association. I've heard of them in the old days, but never really was involved until we got kind of pulled into them last year. They are such hot to trot on technology that we're providing. They built this. This is their website, nkba.org, and they built this page with our content. And you have to be a member to really see all of it, but here's kind of the teaser. And they even have the dealer finder. So this is, we had to actually spend a few $1,000 to have this coded. They've actually asked us, can we embed your dealer finder on our site? Yes, you can. So it's on there. And a lot of our articles are just flat out lifted from our site with our participation. So that's awesome. They're a huge fan. Also, my work with the NKBA, the National Kitchen and Bath, National Home Builders Association, led into something really neat. And I think this is genius. And I wish I could say I thought of this my own, but the custom builders asked the HTA for this document. And here it is. They wanted a project technology assessment form, like some cheat sheet they could take to their projects, and because they forget what integrators do, their admission, and they want to tell their clients all the different things that you do, and so they don't forget. So this is a little cheat sheet checklist, and this is a downloadable PDF, or it's fillable PDF too, so you could fill it out online and they could email it to you of all the different technologies that they want. So energy management and lighting fixtures, I believe, yeah, energy management's on here, but lighting fixtures are on here too. So it's pretty much all inclusive. So these are some of the tools that are being used or being created by us to help you with the builders and architects and designers out there. All right, I would like to open this up to some Q&A again. Please raise the hands or just unmute yourself. I would love to hear some feedback or some questions or some clarification on anything.
I have a quick question for you.
Sure, Isaac.
So these forms, the stuff you've got, would
Yep.
we be allowed to rebrand it with our own company and giving credit, putting HTA on there as well?
Yes, these are, what, Jeff, what are these files in whatever, it's like Adobe PostScript or some kind of Adobe Illustrator or something. The source file that you can have, you can modify that. So a couple of our integrators have done that.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. This form, we only came up with this back in February of this year. We've shared it on our social media. I've shared it on some of the classes I've been teaching, and it's neat to see it starting to go viral. This, by the way, this is the one for, go back here to, it says for builders. I have another one here for interior designers and architects. It's the same form. It's just one word different. One says build team, one says our design team. And one of them has a link to the budget calculator. The other form is identical. It doesn't, because if you're dealing with like a track home builder, which not many of our dealers are, but they might scare off the clients if they go to the budget calculator. So there's two flavors. And we have a version for you, for certified integrators, because if I click back into this, the wording is giving them instructions. It's giving them, in this case, the designer architect, instructions what to do and what's in it for them. But it's saying for them to go to our website and find a certified integrator. Well, if you're the one handing it out, you're not going to want that wording, right? It's worded differently because you're already a certified integrator. You're just giving them the form. So there's that flavor of it too. Good question, Isaac. Anybody else? All right. Well, that's
Chris Johnson had a text in the chat with respect to the budget calculator and commercial applications.
on commercial. It's not a. This is calibrated for residential. So if it works for commercial, we haven't gone down that road. So we, by our own very name of Home Technology Association, we're just focusing on residential right now. But it'd be interesting to take it to compare it against some of the commercial projects you do and see how it lines up. But we don't have things that are like boardroom systems and things like that that are more commercially focused. We don't have on here. But there is a, going back, if you go to our quotes, which is in your chat, if you want to go to the quotes, look up a quote by Michael Restrepo. He's an integrator in New York. He shared an experience, not typical, so I don't want to oversell this, but he got a 7-figure commercial job by being found on our website. So leads come, 7-figure commercial job. And so his quote's on there. He's all over social media, so he's pretty easy to get guy if you want to hear all the details of it. But he landed a big commercial project by being found on a Google search. When he told him about HTA in his pitch, he goes, "That's how we know about you. We found you through doing some searches through HTA." So we know what that means already. So pretty cool little story. Oh, Chris, your hand's up.
Well, the specific reason why I asked is because we're dealing with a lot of, newer multi-family buildings, going on over here in Phoenix. And we are having our builders and or designers asking for, automation within the dwelling. And so, just looking at how can we price that out? Because you're doing, 15 units a floor.
Right.
They're asking for automation. Just give you an example. We did a 16 floor building downtown Phoenix that every single unit we put a control force system in.
Wow.
It's one of those things that it's almost like we're bringing down our pricing just to be competitive.
Yeah.
Because we're doing so many, you know what I mean?
Right. I personally, in my history, because being in LA where I'm at, there's not a lot of MDUs here, but I could put you in contact with a couple of integrators I know that are HTA that do a lot of MDU.
Mm-hmm.
And they might, and they are like pretty big users of HTA tools. And I don't know if they're specifically using the calculator with them. I'd have to ask them, but
Right.
They might have a little, because I don't have any personal experience with that. But if you want unit by unit base on there, and use the square footage, then this calculator might work really well for that.
Mm-hmm.
The only time when I'm educating a builder, architect, designer on this calculator, and I tell them right up front, I said, this works on professionally installed, really good, going from really good to top of the line amazing. This, where it's not accurate, is if you're going to be filtering a bunch of DIY level products, like if you're putting a ring security system in, Ring cameras in, and only Sonos little Play One speakers and those kind of things like that. No, that's not where this goes. So sometimes on an MDU, they might be doing a little bit of a hybrid. I'm not sure. It just depends on the luxury level that they're going with there. Right. So, but again, like, my email's right. Well, you'll see my email in a minute. It's just jc@htacertified.org. It's pretty easy. And I'll be more than happy to connect you to some integrators that are doing quite a bit of MDU. You could ask them.
We're trying to stay away from the DIY stuff, primarily because we came out of the luxury environment, and we're trying to offer that in, the multifamily. But, in terms of pricing, it's just completely different. It's just,
yeah, there's
like, we're making our money more in cabling than the actual automation portion of everything.
Yeah, and that's where you got to see like what kind of projects do you want to take on, right? Because you want to take profitable ones, right? And what we're doing, by the way, something just as a side note, because I was if you guys went to the International Builder Show, I taught there. This is the first time I've ever been to one. There's 77,000 people that show up at the show. It was in Florida. Oh my God, made CD look tiny. These builders and designers were there. And there were some really entry-level brands showing. A lot of the usual suspects you and I know in their space were not exhibiting at the show. But you had Brilliant and you had Oro showing their product. And the scary thing is they're marketing this to builders like it could do what a Control4 or Savant or Crestron can do for 1/10 the price. And some of the builders are starting to drink that Kool-Aid. And seeing that and witnessing that on the show floor, I baked that into my education, and I said, be very careful of some of this DIY stuff that it makes it seem very easy that you can do it as the builder because it works with all these other DIY products. Are you going to be the ones answering the phone call at 10 o'clock at night when these entry-level shades and all this stuff doesn't work? And a lot of them went, oh, that's a good point. They just think it's like you set it up once and it magically just works forever. They're going to be in for a rude awakening. So through the education we're giving, we're not telling every client, don't, every builder and designer and architect, stay away from DIY. It's horrible. No, know when it's good and know when it's not the right solution for the product or for the project. And we're seeing some of our integrators, putting a Ring doorbell in, but everywhere else it's using professional cameras or, kind of a hybridization of that. Sean, question.
Yeah, Josh, and this is, by the way, I love y'all's system. We've used the budget calculator without being a member of you several times to close deals. So it works out fantastic. I'm guessing for the monies portion, going to the bosses and talking about this portion, the association to association is very interesting to me. Something where I see the growth of this being massive. Do y'all put any type of calendar on your website to actually allow your members who are paying dues like this a bird's eye of what y'all are doing for your association to association meetings?
If you keep an eye, if you follow us on social media, yes. Like, matter of fact, we're going to be posting one today. One of the events I did for NKBA, which happened to be recorded by them, is going to be back on. So if you follow us on social, you'll get glimpses of those. If I'm teaching somewhere, you'll get glimpses. You'll see if you become a member, I get on my soapbox a lot, and I'm telling and encouraging our integrators to get involved in the local chapters of these trade associations. Just about every one of them has a local chapter. We're building it up here at the high level, and then you all are the boots on the ground. And I can tell you from personal experience, because I've been an educator started teaching in this industry since 2000. So I'm 22 years into being a teacher. They are hungry for what you do now more so than ever. Because before it was a bigger fight. Now everyone knows what a smart home is. 20 years ago, they didn't. They now, even if it's reluctantly, the good news for you is that they understand the need for you more now than ever, and they're desperate to find good ones. And that's the vacuum we're filling. When I called up and I showed you those 6 different associations we're members from, they're like, thank God you called, because our members are having trouble with them and they don't know where to go. That's why we're here, to educate you. But then you build on that. Show up at these mixers, go to their events, do lunch and learns. If you don't CEDIA's got a great program. They're a COI program, Certified Outreach Instructor. So they can kind of give you pre-done class courses you can give. I actually helped create that back in about 2005. I was one of the 5 members that helped create that program. It's an awesome program.
Yeah, we host ASID, AISD, AIA, continuing education in our showroom and allow everybody to come. So
That's great. Keep that
we
up.
try to keep that going.
That's great. More power to you. Yeah, keep that going. Jeff.
We had, I want to say it's about 1.5 years now. We had a new dealer who got certified. They already had in the works that they were putting on this event where they were inviting builders into their showroom to talk about themselves. It was like they got, and a month before they got certified as HTA, and they put this event on called Bourbon with Builders. And they were obviously plying them with alcohol, but they talked about themselves, talked about the fact that they just became HTA certified and what it means. And here's the budget calculator. And the report I got back is the entire room was just wowed by the whole thing because they didn't know, about HTA kind of a thing. So Josh is attacking it from the high level. Everybody else is attacking it from the boots on the ground space to let everybody know that it exists and what it means and how it can help them and, ultimately help you guys.
Now, one other question is this branch specific? Like we have 5 branches across the Southeast US. Is this branch specific for membership or company specific?
It's branch specific. Roughly speaking, we could just kind of the high level of that, we could get into a little bit more detail. What the high level is, if your branches are more than 40 miles away, kind of like in different markets, really, where you have different staff, those different markets, different boots on the ground, if you will, then yes, each location has to certify separately. Each location has to be in business at least 3 years to even apply. But there is quantity discount at that. You're not paying that fee that you see that I talked about earlier. It's less than that. So it's less. We could get into that. Be more than happy to answer that with you after. And I should have had this up on the screen a little earlier. There, beyond those fees, there is an application. The ongoing fees, there is an application fee, which is $400. Our partnership with D Tools, we're offering a $200 off. There's a code, just D Tools, that literally that word, because you'll see a coupon code screen come up at the end of the app. And if your application is done by the end of August 31st, then put that in there. We're not going to charge the full application fee. So and how you do it is just by clicking on the Get Certified link in the footer. So I will maybe open up another browser and put that little link on there where we're talking, but it's a pretty simple one. Here's that link. I thought I had that saved, but here you go. This is how it's done. We've got 3 minutes. Another thing to kind of go back on what you were just saying, Sean, another one of our dealers that did something I thought was really clever. They were in Austin, Texas, and they had a big event at their showroom. Like they were doing their COI stuff, and they had, I think Ketra was there doing something. They have a Ketra showroom, and then they had me just beam in through Zoom and do a little 15-minute thing on what HTA is, because I was addressing professionals. There are builders and architects there. So I got to explain what them is and why. And a lot of them, by the way, were ones they're trying to date, right? These aren't ones sending a business yet. They're just trying to impress them, educate them. And then I came on as the CEO of this association to explain in a real brief thing, talking to that audience specifically, briefly what this is, the standard, and why we exist, and why this particular integrator that is a good choice for them to use, because we've checked them against all these different things. So the feedback we got from them after was like, oh my God, that went over really well. Some of the builders in the audience commented, like, we're milling around after that was really impressive, and that made sense to them because they've all had bad technology experiences. And here, this integrator is trying to put forth their professionalism. And if we could help shortcut that a bit, more than happy to do that. So we're right at the top of the hour. I'd be more than happy to stay on as long as you want or answer any more questions. Thanks for the questions, Sean, Isaac, Chris. Anybody else have any questions that they have? I'd be more than happy to answer. Well, if not, I really appreciate all of your input. Oh, Isaac?
I do have a quick question, and you may
Yes.
have gone over this and I missed it. So the 3 levels of certification, if you come in at foundation, right, how hard is it then to bump to luxury or estate?
It depends on what it is that's the holdback. Sometimes it's easy. For example, here's one of the tricks. We're big proponents of design and engineering documentation.
Mhm.
That is one of the key things that make the really good companies good. So if you do big projects regularly, but you don't offer that, you don't do it, we will automatically keep that company in foundation. Sometimes it's a matter of just start offering that. And we don't require that you have to have staff for that. That we could even give you the names of companies that do design and engineering as a third, a third party you can hire. So that's happened in a couple of cases. Like, why aren't we at this other level? Like, well, if you don't do design and engineering, you should be. Okay, well, who do you have? Here's some names that we know. Interview them, and once you start working with them and they can verify that you're working with them, we'll bump you up to the next level, because it's part of our standard that you offer design and engineering on every single project, which, by the way, we expect you to pay for, you to charge for it. So, and we have articles about that, why, written to the consumer, why they should be paying for that. So that's just a for instance that typically holds back a foundation of luxury. Sometimes it's a matter of you don't have enough experience on the larger projects yet, right? So sometimes we look at the history, the types of projects, and we do all sorts of vetting. And like, yeah, they're a great firm, but they're not in the big giant mansions yet. But you're getting there. So we've had companies jump tiers. We're almost 5 years old, so we've had a couple go up the tier because their company was moving more up market and away from the smaller projects, and then in time they did qualify for that. So you're not etched in stone.
Mhm.
We had 2 in the last year.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Good question. And like, if you want to go in more depth on any of this stuff, I'm more than happy to get on the phone and, any other questions. If anybody's a little shy, happy to answer questions one-on-one. So thank you everyone for your time. It's 11:02 now, so we used up our hour really well. If Josh is still on there, Josh, thank you for D Tools, again, a great partner of HTA and D Tools.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I didn't say this before, but here's a neat little perk that D Tools will do. If you're using D Tools, they will take your HTA logos and embed them on the templates of your design and engineering docs, because we highly recommend that you do that. You always want to reemphasize to your clients when you're presenting to them documentation or anything that you kind of remind them again that you're certified with the little logo on there. So they'll do that for you. They got all our logos on file. So thank you, everybody. And Jeff and I are here to help out. We've recorded this, so if you missed anything, we'll put a little link to that recording and share it out to you, because we got your registration emails too. So, and we'll give you our contact information. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Stay cool out there if it's roasting in your part of the country. All right, folks. Have a good one.
Take care, guys.